a gentleman that loves doing voting. So please, help me give a great round of applause for Dr. Allen Davis.
Thank you. I really do appreciate it, and I want to thank everyone for coming this morning and joining us on this rainy Saturday morning to come and hear some great information. How many of you came here to make some money? Learn how to make some money. Well, this is a great opportunity. As Naeem was presenting, he was telling you about some of the people that had no interest in this. And guess what? He was watching a football game when Fran Fleming called him and said, "Hey, man, Naeem, come on over. I want to show you how to make some money." And Naeem listened to what he said, "Okay, I'm going to give up the game and I'll come and listen." And now he's vice president of the company. So just giving up that Sunday afternoon. Now, Fran Fleming also called me. And I said, "Fran, I have no interest. I have no time." "I'm okay, Fred. I'm making enough money. I'm okay." And I turned her down for 2 years.
Wow.
2 years. Until she walked into the office and she said, "Alan, sit your butt down. I'm going to show you something." And respectfully, I did so. I own and operate funeral homes across Texas and Louisiana. At that time, we had funeral homes in Pennsylvania, New York, Washington State. I had managed 21 properties, 10 funeral homes, 9 cemeteries, 2 crematoriums. Over 200 employees, and we were doing something that each and every one of us will face someday. We were handling debts. So I had over 4,000 debts per year in my organization. 4,000 dead bodies. And guess what? 40 to 60% of those people that walked into the funeral home did not have insurance, or they were underinsured. And ladies and gentlemen, that's your opportunity. You see, all you have to do is go out and tell them what you do. And all you're trying to do is help them save some money. So this is something that I just wrote down while I was sitting over here making notations, is that if you walked into the funeral home and you wanted to pay for your services, that's going to cost you about $100 a month. And you walked into the cemetery, that's going to cost you $100 a month. That's $200 a month that you'll pay for services. With this particular product, they can take care of the funeral and the cemetery for half the cost. Now, don't you want to save your family some money?
Right.
Your friends?
Right.
How many people in this room, by the show of hands, have never been to a funeral? Oh, wow. Not one hand went up. You know, we have 2 choices. These are the 2 choices. When one died, we're going to place you in a casket, or you have the choice of being cremated, and we're going to place you in an urn. You're going to go in one or the other. Even a county death with no money is going to be cremated. You see, 60% of the people have chosen cremation. And the reason why I think half of the 60% have chosen cremation is because of affordability. They can't afford this. Now, if you have made funeral arrangements before, you know walking into a funeral home can be expensive. At the end of the arrangement conference, we're going to ask you, would you like to pay for services? And you know, this happened to me just yesterday. It happens every week, but yesterday, timed it just right. 2 young men came into the funeral home. Their brother had passed away. And they asked about, do you have a payment plan?
My God.
Do you have a payment plan? Now I'm trying to tell everybody, insurance is the payment plan.
Right, right.
You didn't get on it, so you think you're gonna pay me?
Wow.
So would any of you all work for free?
No.
Would any of you all go buy a car and drive around people for free? Uber don't even drive you for free. Okay, so those expensive Cadillacs and Lincolns that you see parked at the funeral homes, those cost money. So I always sum it up as there's no free ride to the funeral home. There's no free ride to the cemetery.
Okay.
And now there's no free ride to the crematorium.
Okay.
There's a cost associated with it. And ladies and gentlemen, in your hands with this opportunity, you can resolve the problem. I always talk about the warm market. Just look at your family. Everybody in your family, and I'm going to simply say that 70 plus years of age, those should be the first people you should be talking to. Because why? Because they have fewer days ahead of them. They just don't know their day, their time, or their hour. However, I've had babies that pass away, and the oldest person that ever passed away in my life is 103 years of age, and that was my grandfather. So between 0 and 103, I've buried everybody. So the oldest person in America at this point is 109 years of age.
Wow.
It's how many millions of people in the United States? 340 million people in the United States. And in 109 years, guess who and how many would have died? 340 million people.
Wow.
And that includes each and every one of us in this room.
Right.
So we talk about a subject matter that nobody wants to talk about. But if you can spend some time with your seniors, our target market between 50 and 85, talk about it and get it over with. It's not taboo. It's not superstition. You're not going to die because you're talking about it. Go ahead and get them to talk about it. Because if you ever have made funeral arrangements and you come into the funeral home and we ask, do you have any type of plan? Most of the time they say no. So either you can walk into the funeral home and tell us what you want, or you can roll through the funeral home and somebody's gonna have to figure out what you want.
My.
Now they're gonna have to figure out based upon what? How much money they have, how much money that you left them. Do you have an insurance policy? Can you find the insurance policy? That's another problem right there. They come in and make funeral arrangements and they say, well, I know mom has a life insurance policy, but I can't find it. Can you ask her, can you help me find it? So we give them a few ways in order to do so. But you know, you go through life and you don't have those tough conversations. Talking to your parents, grandparents for some of you, great-grandparents for some of the guys that's in here, I know that's very young. It's a tough subject, but if you just spend 1 hour and talk about it, and you have to ask the question, how are we gonna pay for whatever you want?
Mm-hmm.
See, even the person that simply don't care, you can just throw me in the backyard. He still needs this. And the average cremation in the city of Houston across America is about $3,000. $3,000 for a direct cremation. That's the average cost. You know what the average cost of a funeral in Houston is? Average cost of a funeral in Houston now is pushing $15,000 for a budget funeral.
My God.
$15,000. That's
$15,000.
not fancy. That's not 2 or 3 limousines.
Right.
That's not beautiful flowers. That's just basic. Now, over the course of the past 2 weeks, most of the funeral homes have introduced their 2024 prices. And I shared those prices with a few people yesterday and with some others by email. And you know what? 15,000 sounds like a lot of money. But that was a budget funeral.
Wow.
The funerals overall, they're at $20,000 and $25,000.
Wow.
I had 3 funerals last week, 3 different individuals, and the lowest one was $22,000.
Wow.
And they took the cheapest package and the cheapest cemetery. It was $22,000. Because the lowest price cemetery in Houston, Texas is now about $1,600 by itself.
Mm.
Now, I started in this business in 2003. And people walked into the funeral home without money and asked for the payment plan. It's 2024. People walk into the funeral home and ask for the payment plan.
Wow.
So my payment plan is, let's get some insurance.
Yeah.
Let's get some insurance to cover the financial needs to be able to have the type of celebration that you want in your life. Now, I know some of y'all are getting a lot of money, you don't worry about it, you just give me your black card and I discharge it, and that's not an issue. But there's a lot of people that cannot do that. And that's your opportunity. See, those caskets that Naeem presented, they all locked in at a price of $2,000. Now guess what? If you walked into my funeral home and you selected one of those caskets today, the price of that casket is $32.95. So that's a benefit all within itself. And then the price of that casket is locked in forever.
Yeah.
Forever. Do you know caskets will steady increase over and over and over? And one of my agent partners had a death in her family, and she was able to utilize that benefit, and that casket was locked in at $1,500. And so that was a savings of probably $2,000.